Rika. We haven't seen you for a while.
Hello. I cannot see you yet. Yes, I can see. Good morning.
Good morning. Morning, Gabby. Morning, everyone. Morning, Alberto, Carmen.
Academy is also coming. Okay.
So perhaps we can start, if anyone has anything they'd like to begin with. Morning, Alan. Do you have any topic you would like to start with, Yotika? Anything you've been thinking about during these few weeks?
I've not prepared, but I have to think about what is the thing? The Eightfold Path, and then vision, intention, speak, handelen, action. I don't know. Let me have action like speaking, right speech, right
Awareness, samasati,
and
samasamadhi.
then the following thing on life. What is the name now? I don't know the name. And all of a sudden I'm not. The one after action, right action, and then right livelihood. Right livelihood. What is life? What is life like? Right livelihood.
So this is your question, what is the right livelihood? So actually it's right speech or right action, but in the course of one's daily living. So the right speech itself is the same, like the abstaining from wrong speech, no matter whether it's in the course of one's work, in the course of one's duties as a bhikkhu, or now it is that moment of abstaining from wrong speech when there's a temptation to speak harshly or with sarcasm or say something untrue, but there is the abstaining. So that is the right speech. But in the case of right livelihood, in the course of one's daily work, daily chores, but I don't think we have to pinpoint which it is, like if there's the abstaining from wrong speech now. There can be understanding of the value of that quality now, no matter what it's called. And the same with right action when there's the temptation to take something that doesn't belong to one or do something that is harmful to the others, when there is a moment of abstaining, no matter whether it's during one's work, during one's duties as a monk, or any time in the supermarket, or any time at that moment of abstaining. It is wholesome and it can be understood. So that's why right understanding, the first factor, is the essential factor, because without right understanding, none of the other factors can be right. And when you mentioned right intention, well, samasankappa is often translated that way. I think at the end of the last discussion we had, and we'll see if Maeve joins, we were talking about vitaka and the nature of vitaka. And sometimes it's translated as intention, but actually it's not intention, because cetana is intention. But it is the reality that arises with every chitta other than seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, and touching, and or lead on to the object in order for the chitta and other factors to experience it. Anyway, perhaps, yes, carry on, Jyotika.
No, but there is this special thing for right. I cannot find the name at the moment. Right livelihood. No, right effort, right livelihood. Let me see. I can come back later, I think.
Anyway, right livelihood. So we can continue to talk more about it. Let's see if Ajahn would like to add some more words. And Jonathan was just mentioning he can't hear, but you can hear what I'm saying, all right? Is that, it's okay? Is it?
I can hear what you say.
Yes, I think it's just his connection, yes. Okay, so Ajahn, Yotika is asking more about right livelihood. Would you like to add some more comments?
No matter what reality is there, it depends on whether there is understanding of the nature of what is there or not the name. For example, now, seeing is there, no name. If you don't use the word seeing, it sees, no matter who call it, seeing or chakvinyana or whatever, the same as livelihood, wrong or right. Can it be known right now? As seeing is not known as it is yet, while it is now there seeing. That's why we learn to understand what can be known little by little has to be that which is now appears. Otherwise, if there's no understanding of that which is now appearing, it is there, shows up, its nature, its characteristic, but what is it in truth? No one, Dhamma, that which cannot experience the object, because if that which is not there, how can there be the understanding of that which is not there, right as now? That's why we learn about livelihood and wrong livelihood and so on. But it's there, unknown, until it appears. Is that right? No matter how much we try to understand it, the understanding is only that in life, moment of wrong speech is when, and what is it? What is its nature? Otherwise, it's just only idea about whatever is there, thinking, try to find out the nature of it as it is, but not just by hearing, considering. Just know that it's there, but it's not known. Just like Citasikas, Vitakka Citasika now, it's there. It has to be there by conditions, but can it appear to be known right now, or it does not appear at all? And what about that which appears when there will be the understanding of that characteristic as it's different from other moments? This is the study of Dhamma, because Dhamma is now appearing. So study that which appears as it is. Otherwise, it will never be known at all as Dhamma. And who knows, whatever you are thinking about can be object of right understanding only by right conditions. Without right conditions at that moment to understand the truth, even if there is not known. That's why the most important thing is beginning to have firm confidence of that which is there, the reality which experiences the object, and the object never be the same at all in samsara. just one moment, arising and falling away, never to arise again. This is the moment of the path, understanding the truth, letting go ignorance and attachment at moment of understanding. That's why the path is so very subtle. It's not trying to think about anything or try to concentrate on this or that, because all are dhammas. But when I am concentrating or wanting or trying to find out, it's no understanding of Dhamma as not anything or anyone. Citta is citta. Citasikas are citasikas. Whatever appears can be known. So now, consider the truth. Is that which is there now appearing is known? Or not yet? It appears, but no one can understanding it. They are all dhammas. Sati is dhamma, panya is dhamma, and ignorance is ignorance, and attention is attention. All are dhammas that can be beginning to understand it as it is. Otherwise, we are study Dhamma. Where's Dhamma? What's Dhamma? It's in the book. And the story about what we have heard so long time ago, Citta, Cetasika, they are different. But what is now is the real Citta, the nature of a reality, which is taught, which is written in the book. But in truth, is there each moment. Study Dhamma is beginning to attend to the characteristic of what is there because it appears that can be known. If it does not appear, can it be known, no matter what? Citta or Cetasika or livelihood and so on. So study Dhamma. Where is Dhamma? When is Dhamma? It's now. So what is now? Do we have to find out the word? Or is there appearing? And the characteristic of that cannot be changed. It's there, so it's a reality. If it hasn't arisen, how can it appear?
Do I understand well, Ajahn, that you say if I try to understand right livelihood, it doesn't make sense?
Because you say, I'm trying, it's the I,
There's no I, there's no try. Yeah.
until no I. At moment of trying, it's a reality. Viriya Cetasika. And when we heard about Viriya Cetasika, we would like to know what it is. But it's there now, at moment of trying. See, it's there. It's not I, but it tries. It tries. So no matter what is there, it is a reality. No one there at all. Until there can be a moment of directly understanding the moment of trying. A reality. It's not like or dislike. It's just a reality. Only that. So understanding can arise at any moment, not at will, not by trying, but understanding little by little to let go ignorance that it's I. In truth, it's just a reality, beginning to understand whatever is there. not trying to understand it more, because understanding has to develop gradually, so very gradually, in a day, when there's no proper conditions to just think about. It's there, a reality, hardness. Can hardness be known? Should it be known? Otherwise it's not known, right? Even hardness, it seems so natural, hardness, but it's a reality. It's conditioned reality. And that moment, there must be the reality which arises and experiences it at that moment. Otherwise, it cannot appear. But now it's hard, it appears. So we know that it's a reality, but not enough. It has to be the characteristic of hardness is known. Not just hardness is hard, it's there hard. But the moment of the hardness is then known.
When it is experienced, then it is
Until,
known.
so now we can talk about anything as much as can be known. Manasikara, can it be known right now or not yet? Be truthful to the truth will lead to a little more letting go, wrong effort. And the understanding right now is the path. Right understanding, let go ignorance and attachment. Beginning to understand the moment of understanding is the moment of letting go ignorance and attachment. Nothing to be done by anyone at all.
Nothing to be done.
Only reality, different characteristics arises performing its function, that's all. Effort arises to be effort. Nothing to be done because effort is conditioned to arise and performs its function and gone. Who can do anything? Oh, it's there already now. Seeing is there already by condition. Thinking is there already by conditions. Nothing to be done. It's there already. What is lack is understanding the truth of that which has arisen and now appears. The opposite of ignorance is right understanding. No one try to have awareness and direct understanding of what is there. Only the development of right understanding from hearing, considering, developing to know what is there is right now. Nothing to be done. It's there already and it's gone already. And it's there again by conditions and then gone already. So whereas I, at moment of seeing, nothing but seeing, and that which is seeing, no one there. Before seeing, there's no seeing. Where's the I? At moment of seeing, and then seeing gone, unknowingly. So the I is there, unknowingly. Because of ignorance, no understanding of seeing, as it is just a moment, not permanent. Before it's there, it's not there, and then it's there, and then gone. Nothing can be taken for something permanent or someone. Just have confidence of the truth, not to try to do anything, but listen carefully, wise attention. All dhammas are anatta. Anatta, no one, all dhammas. Until seeing is there, not I who sees anymore. It's just a moment of experiencing that which is seen, and then both gone. So very rapidly, very quickly.
It is as if I hear it for the first time today.
Dhamma, no one arising and falling away, just once in samsara. Seeing right now is conditioned to see and then gone, never to arise again in samsara. Each moment is new one. The condition for what will arise have more and more accumulated to condition such and such moment from right now, on and on and on, all by conditions.
Does it make sense to teach anything?
Is it true? Only that to understand from hearing what is true and what is not true. Seeing arises, is it true? Before seeing, there's no seeing. And at moment of hearing, there's no seeing. Is it true? Where's the eye, which sees, which hears, which thinks? Wrong understanding because of ignorance, not understanding the truth of what is there. As what we say, Dhamma. See, we use the word Dhamma and we think that there is the understanding of Dhamma. Whatever is real is Dhamma. But that is not enough. What is real? Seeing is real right now. Why it cannot be anyone or anything? Because it is conditioned to see, to arise to see. And then gone. So where's the I or someone or something? Only one seeing in samsara and then gone. The next seeing is always once in samsara and gone. No one can find where it's now. Completely sunyata, never to arise again. From birth, moment to moment, up to now, and on and on and on. So in a day, what are there is only seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, thinking, again and again, each day, from moment to moment. That's all.
That's all.
Non-stop, that's all. As long as there are conditions for whatever arises, it has to arise. Only once in samsara and never arise again. Sunyata. So no I, no thing at all. Only that which is seen, and that which is seen has to arise, otherwise it cannot be seen. And then it's gone. So the world does not appear as it is. It is one. So one reality appears to be object of understanding or of experiencing any moment. That's all. What is seen now, heard, smell, taste, touch, think, thought about. Tomorrow again, new one. each is not the same at all. Only once in samsara. And that can be understood stage by stage, little by little, from wise attention to the truth, and have confidence firmly that no one there at all. And it can be known only when it is there. Like seeing right now, not hearing. But at moment of hearing, only hearing can be known because it's there. But in truth, the reality which experiences the object, like we said, the chief of experiences an object, does not appear at moment when its object appears. Right? For example now, what is seen appears, but the seeing, that which sees it, does not appear. When it does not appear, can it be known?
No.
Its nature, nothing at all, only experiences an object. The reality which arises and experiences the object does not have any shape, smell, taste, touch. So what is there when it appears? No world of sight and sound and taste and whatever at all. Otherwise, how can it be known that it's just a reality which arises to experience? Its function is only that. Now, it arises to experience what is seen. At moment of hearing, it arises to hear what is heard. That's all. Only the reality which arises and experiences the object, and the reality which is conditioned to arise, but not experienced at all. Nama Dhamma and Rupa Dhamma. All day, each moment in life, Nama and Rupa. That's why we learn to understand whatever is there unknown is taken for I or mine, because no one there at all. So the experiencing is I, because it experiences, it sees, but no understanding of the reality which is conditioned to arise to see. At moment of seeing, I see. Is that true?
No.
Just learn to understand the truth. More confidence. Adidana Parami, firm confidence. Satya Parami is so true, ultimate truth. No one can change or make anything to arise at all. It's Satya Parami, so true. The noble truth, the first noble truth, is now heard, is conditioned to rise and then falls away. This is the first round of the Four Noble Truths. Pariyati, not enough to let go the idea of self until direct understanding with awareness of whatever is there now. Hardness is not attended at all. And it begins to be aware of that characteristic, begin to understand that at moment of hardness appears, nothing can appear together. But it cannot appear at all without that which experiences it. So the reality which experiences an object from moment to moment all the time does not appear to be known. Only the object that it experiences is known. Like sound is heard, but the hearing does not appear, as is that which hears the sound. That's why just have more confidence of the truth. To be Sammaditi, the first of the Eightfold Path. Without Sammaditi, it's impossible to understand the truth of what is there. And Sammaditi is no one at all. Before hearing and without wise considering, there cannot be the understanding of what is meant now as attention, not citta, not the chief of experiencing. And awareness is not citta, but it's there, arising together with citta. See, that's why we learn about life in each moment, as it's so true that there's no one. Very, very short, very, very temporary, or by conditions. And it can condition moment of beginning to understanding life, no matter seeing pleasant object or unpleasant object, all by conditions. Just a moment and then gone. No matter it's hearing, it's by conditions. Whether that moment it hears pleasant object, pleasant sound, or unpleasant sound, it's there already. No one can make anything arise. And even understanding is conditioned by hearing and considering carefully what is meant by understanding. It's there. No thought about it. But after hearing the truth about it, there must be conditions for the moment to think about it, not forget it. That is there as anatta, not anything at all, only that which is experienced. So Dhamma is there all the time. Study Dhamma is study what is there in this moment, on and on and on.
Do I hear, is it exactly what I hear? Is that study Dhamma is study what is in the moment? You say.
And
So it doesn't make sense to study from a book.
what is there at moment of reading? See, it can be understood any moment in life, even at moment of reading. There
Okay.
must be seeing and remembering the meaning of each word, and at that moment it represents the memory of sound, like somewhere. See, somewhere. It can be in the book, written, and then when we read, it is somewhere. See, remembrance of the sound from seeing, from reading, or are conditioned by so many, many realities, very complex, because so fast and so many realities are known. But this is what is meant, the enlightenment of the Buddha. Otherwise, no one can know at all what is there, like Vitakka, Vichara, Piti, whatever is there in life is reality, very complex, because all at once, like closing one's eyes now, nothing appears as when one opens one's eyes. See, how come? So many things instantly. That is the way reality arises and falls away so very rapidly. So what appears is what Buddha said. What appears by nimitta, just the sign, the mark of what is there. For example, seeing not just one moment, seeing all the time while we are talking, that is also seeing how fast it is, just moment to moment, quicker than watching this cinema. See, what is that? It's just one picture at a time. And when we talk about one picture, what is there? What is meant by picture? Not just one dot of what is seen. So many dots to be a picture. And life is much more complex. And that is meant by the enlightenment of the one who enlightened the truth. And talk about the truth to be understood, to attain enlightenment after hearing, considering on and on and on. Be truthful to the truth. How much understanding of what is there now without hearing, considering, no pariyati, no condition for patipatti. To understand instantly with awareness of that which appears just one characteristic at a time. Because reality appears just one reality at a time. Is it joy to understand the truth, not the false, but the truth? In samsara, any moment in lifetime, each life.
So Yotika, to come back to Virya for a moment, because it's a good example of how Dharma is not in the book, but it's now. But it helps to appreciate that Virya arises with all kusala and akusala chittas. So it doesn't arise with most of the rootless chittas like seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, and touching. But the kusala or the akusala that follows arises with virya. So when there is an effort to do or an effort to understand, is it kusala virya or akusala virya? When is the idea of I making an effort? Of course, it must be akusala virya. Most of the day, there is akusala virya arising when wishing for something, wishing to understand, wishing to get the meaning, wishing for life to be different at this moment than how it is. It's effort to do, but it's akusala virya. So the kusala virya only arises at moments of kindness, moments of generosity, moments of understanding, only at moments when the citta is kusala, and it's just for a moment, and it's anatta, it's just a dhamma. So it's never I that can make an effort. And if there is thinking, dreaming about I making an effort, it's just akusala virya that is being accumulated with attachment and often with the clinging to the wrong idea of I. So this is an example of how it's not a matter of the book knowledge, but beginning to appreciate how even virya is just a dhamma which arises falls away instantly, usually arising with akusala jittas, with lobha, with ignorance. Otherwise, we think whenever there is trying to doing something like trying to have more understanding, trying to be a better person, we assume that it's wholesome. But we can begin to appreciate more and more that usually there is attachment and ignorance there. And it's usually akusala virya at those moments, not the samavayama of the path that can only arise with right understanding for a moment. So what we learn in the book is actually about this moment. So even now in the Dhamma discussion, virya is arising, even now as we speak. But mostly it's akusala virya, even when considering the Dhamma, because clinging is there, ignorance is there, boredom is there. So akusala virya is so very, very common. So understanding means being more truthful, as Ajahn said, satya parami, being truthful to what is true now. And this is the way that the confidence develops and there's more understanding of dhammas as anatta, little by little. And the understanding can only be about what is now. If the virya doesn't appear now, the effort, whether it's wholesome or unwholesome, if it doesn't appear, there can only be thinking about it. But actually it can appear like when trying to do right, trying to catch the meaning, trying to work out the term or the detail. It's virya with attachment, and it can be known, just a Dhamma, not mine.
And, and when it is known, Jyotika, at that time, that is right effort.
When there is not knowing,
Now, when it is known, when the wrong effort is known, at that moment, it is right effort.
and it is known that
When there is understanding of the Dhamma now, even if it's attachment or wrong effort, at that moment of understanding its nature, when it appears, there is right effort at those moments. Not trying to have it, but naturally it's there at those moments of understanding.
but very concrete. I promise to talk more, to tell tomorrow morning something about right livelihood. But no, I think it's better not to tell.
I think it's very good whenever there's an opportunity to share the truth about the Dhamma. You asked whether there's any point in teaching.
Yeah.
What is understood, even if it's little, it's good to share with others at those moments of sharing. It's kusala, and right effort is there at the moments of kindness, thinking of the other's welfare. But when we talk about right livelihood, usually people think of a long story like, oh, when you work in a butcher's shop, it's wrong livelihood, or when you go out into the forest hunting, it's wrong livelihood. But even when one is teaching or sharing, or when one's tempted to exaggerate, but there's abstaining at that moment of abstaining, right livelihood, abstaining from wrong action. So it's just a moment of abstaining when there is the opportunity to do wrong. Like now, there's no opportunity to do something harmful, so no abstaining from doing something harmful, no temptation to speak falsely, for example, so no abstaining from wrong speech at this moment. So it's the right livelihood or right speech or right action is just for a moment of abstaining when there is the opportunity or inclination to do wrong. So a sotapanna doesn't have any abstaining from stealing or lying, no right livelihood in those regards, because no thought of stealing or lying. So it's only when there is the opportunity to do wrong, to speak wrongly, that there is that abstaining.
Just to add a couple of brief comments about the factors of the Noble Eightfold Path, Jyotika, because these are not always understood. They are all mental factors. So samadhi is the mental factor of panya. Samasankappa is the mental factor of vitakka, and so on. They are the mental factors that arise together at a moment of path consciousness. And at that moment of path consciousness, of the 8 mental factors, 3 of them are mental factors of restraint or refraining from wrong action or speech, right? And those 3 are right speech, right action, right livelihood. So we can't talk about right livelihood without talking about right speech and right action also, because as Sarah explained earlier, right livelihood is the refraining from wrong speech or wrong action in the course of one's livelihood or occupation or means of support in life. And so, and the other point to keep in mind is that these path factors arise together and are developed when they arise together. So they are not factors that can be developed separately. For example, it's not possible to think of right effort, virya, as something that can be developed on its own or by doing other kinds of kusala. The path factors that lead to enlightenment are developed at moments of insight, of awareness and understanding, as described in the Satipatthana Sutta. And so they are developed naturally at any time there is awareness and understanding of a reality, a conditioned Dhamma. So I hope that's helpful for you.
Yeah. I do.
I think the main point which Ajahn was stressing at the outset is that no matter whether we're talking about virya or right livelihood or seeing, the point to stress is that they are all dhammas. No one's there. No one has right livelihood. No one has right effort. They are just dhammas arising by conditions momentarily and then gone. And however much we discuss or read in the text, unless they appear, they can't be known. So then we just try to understand them or work out the details, but the nature has to appear. For example, the wrong speech or right speech. If there is no understanding of the quality of wrong speech, the citasika, when it arises and is apparent, then it's not known, no matter how much we have read in the text. And the same with effort, unless its nature, the right effort or the wrong effort, unless it appears and is known, even now, when it's here now, then it will just be intellectual study, academic study. So it has to come back to what can be known now. Maybe no conditions to understand right livelihood now or right speech now, because there's no inclination to wrong speech or wrong action. But what about seeing now? What about hearing now? What about doubt or confusion now? What about pleasant feeling or unpleasant feeling? Sadness, happiness. These are all dharmas, hardness that is touched now. So the understanding has to come back to what appears. Otherwise, there's more and more trying to understand what doesn't appear, and that is more and more virya with lobha, not the right samavayama that arises with samaditi. So the understanding is always the key. And as you said, it's this moment. It has to be this moment, letting go of what doesn't appear now, letting go of what we would like to be arising or what we'd like to understand, but just letting understanding develop, understanding just what is here and now. Sounds simple, but it's so subtle and deep because the clinging and ignorance is so strongly rooted, always looking for something else, change of character, change of object, instead of just letting the understanding perform its function here and now, naturally.
And
So
those
when you
letting understanding takes its course is the same thing as understanding accompanied by letting go. So if there's understanding, it lets go.
Yeah, when we say letting, is just Dhamma by condition, anatta.
Does it make sense then to, I don't know. I don't know. I'm just confused.
I think
If it makes sense to do anything. So now we are discussing. If I want to talk tomorrow about right livelihood, then I will say something about it. But in fact, I feel it doesn't matter to do it. It doesn't make sense, maybe. Better not.
whether you do or don't, it's all by conditions. Like maybe now they're thinking,
Anyway,
oh, I'm not going to. And then at the time, friends say, please talk about it. And kusala chitta, so you share what you know, even if it seems only a little. So each moment of thinking, each moment of seeing, each moment of kindness, each moment of I can't be bothered, it's all conditioned. Right effort, wrong effort, it's all conditioned. So I think like now, one can share the little understanding one has that whatever one's talking about, they are just dharmas that are anatta, not anyone that has or doesn't have right livelihood. And it's a cetasika, so it just arises for a moment. It's not the situation as we're used to thinking about. Just like, shall I give a talk tomorrow? That's a situation. It's not the understanding of Dhamma now. So understanding of Dhamma means even the thinking, shall I, shan't I, even those moments of thinking are conditioned and anatta. Whenever we think of a situation, actually, there are just different dharmas arising and falling, conditioned. Who knows what will happen next moment, whether they'll be seeing or hearing, right effort, wrong effort, clinging, wise consideration. So who knows about tomorrow? Just more moments of seeing and hearing and thinking with confusion and doubt and attachment and moments of kindness and consideration, each one conditioned. So no need to think, what shall I do? Because then it's just clinging again to I and what I should do. It's not the understanding of Dhamma. So this is why coming back to appreciate here and now, even the confusion now, doubt now, thinking about me and what I shall do, even these moments, they're just dhammas and they can be understanding. This is why it's so powerful and valuable, because it's now, dhammas now, not I. So all the thinking about what I shall do and should I make an effort or this or that, it just hinders the understanding of what appears right now. I think we take everything very seriously. What shall I do? Am I doing the right thing? It all seems so important and serious, but actually there are just dhammas arising and falling away, each one unimportant, unsatisfactory, and gone. Nothing lasts, nothing is as important or serious as it seems. And that taking it as mattering so much is the strong clinging to I, not the understanding of the nature of dhammas as they are, impermanent and anatta.
There is big appreciation for the words who are spoken. But there is also not knowing how to proceed with talking of teaching about an Eightfold Path. Yeah. There is this part I don't understand. I think this is this understanding. What is understanding? It is only that what is what can be seen, what is
Seeing now, what is seen now, the not knowing now, even that is Dhamma. The feeling stuck or wanting to catch the meaning, the clinging now, the ignorance now, these are just Dhammas.
That
and
is what's
only the understanding can let go of that clinging and ignorance very gradually. And the not knowing, there's no knowing about what will arise the next moment. If there's understanding, no problem. If there's kindness, there's no problem. But when there's the clinging or the ignorance, it's a problem. So it's a problem again and again and again. No one knows whether to be seeing or hearing or thinking at the next moment. You didn't know that you were going to speak at the beginning of the discussion. I didn't know I would be speaking now or sharing now, or whether there'd be right or wrong effort, because each Dhamma is conditioned at each moment. So there's no point in speculating or thinking too much about what will happen. Kusala Chitta's guide in a Kusala way, Akusala Chitta's guide in an Akusala way, all by conditions. We may think we'll pop out to the shop, but we don't pop out to the shop, we do something different. Each moment, each Dhamma is conditioned.
Is it then a right understanding that I think it's better not to bring in the topic from right livelihood?
I think that it can be mentioned, but it can be mentioned that, like all other dhammas, it is right speech, right actions. Jonathan said if there's no discussing about right speech or action, there won't be any understanding of right livelihood. But I think one can come back to this moment and say, like everything else, it's just for a moment. It's just a dhamma. It's not my right livelihood. Just because I don't work in a butcher's shop and don't shoot and don't, does it mean there's right livelihood now? No, not at all. because it's just a moment of wholesome abstaining. For the Arahat, no right livelihood, because no unwholesomeness to abstain from. So no virati, abstaining cetasikas, because no temptation, no thought of speaking unwisely or harshly. So no abstaining from wrong speech, no temptation to gossip or slander. So nothing to abstain from. So no right livelihood. So right livelihood is just the moments of abstaining from wrong speech or wrong action in the course of living.
Right livelihood is doing no wrong thing.
For a moment,
Okay.
when there is the possibility, for a moment, whatever we talk about, it's for a moment. Always just for a moment.
Yeah, it's just for a
And I
moment.
think that's
For a
a
moment.
slightly simplistic characterization of right livelihood, Jyotika. If you say not doing anything wrong, well, at a moment of seeing, nothing wrong is being done, but it's not right livelihood because there's no restraint on wrong speech or wrong action.
So, Jyotika, to give a conventional example, say you decided to open a coffee shop, which is supposedly straightforward, no killing, no anything involved, and you open the shop and you sell coffee, and you're doing everything by the rules. You're selling at a fair price, but is that right livelihood? I think right livelihood comes when, for example, someone orders something and you have an urge, maybe an idea, a thought to charge a little extra, and then you restrain. That's right livelihood. So it's not like you open a coffee shop and it's all right. Right is
Yes.
only those instances, those moments when there's restraining from, speaking or action that is wrong speech and wrong action.
Or suppose in the coffee shop example, you get irritated by a customer and you speak harshly. That's wrong speech. But if you refrain from speaking harshly when there is the impulse to do so, then that
Then
is
it's right livelihood.
right speech, right livelihood.
Yeah, it's interesting. It doesn't make, to me, doesn't make it, maybe I said it very short, but you can do a wrong thing, you can do the wrong way, and if you abstain from it, then it is right livelihood.
Yep, you've got it.
Well, then I can tell tomorrow.
Yes, you. Not difficult.
In the end, it's not difficult. Thank you very much.
The thing is, it's different from what one has heard elsewhere, because elsewhere people will say, well, wrong livelihood is having a certain occupation and right livelihood is having a certain occupation.
Yeah,
But that doesn't make sense. And
yeah,
the
but
Buddha
that's a
didn't say
big
that.
difference. Yeah, that's a
Yeah,
big difference.
But we are talking about the
In
factors
approach.
of the noble. Your original question was about the factors of the Noble Eightfold Path.
Yeah,
And therefore it has to be about a moment of wholesomeness that accompanies awareness and understanding, actually. Otherwise, it's not Eightfold Path, or
but then,
it's not.
then it's also then that the Arahat has nothing to do, is always, no, has nothing to do with right livelihood. Not more.
Well, he has no inclination to
To do
or harsh
anything.
speech or wrong speech or wrong action. So there can't be any restraint on his part. Yes.
No.
For example, if a bhikkhu is sweeping in his kuti and there's some ants and he's tempted to flush them down the
Away.
sink, but abstains at that moment of abstaining, it's right livelihood. But for the arahat, no temptation, no thought of any harm, so no right livelihood, no virity, because no opportunity for abstaining, nothing to abstain from at all. So it's just for that moment in the course of living, abstaining, when there is the inclination or temptation to do wrong.
That's interesting.
It is interesting, and it's another example of how the teachings are much more subtle than one thinks.
Yeah.
And it is just for that moment.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Does anyone else have anything they would like to bring up today? Or perhaps Ajahn would like to add some more comments.
So can I, if I'm not sure, so if like Sotapanna onward, like have enlightenment, so I think there's no abstaining because there's no intention to do wrong. So I think from Sotapanna onwards, there's no need for any abstraining.
Abstaining. For the Sotapanna, no inclination to kill, but what about inclination to gossip or slander or speak harshly or other kinds of akusala? So yes, no inclination to kill, steal, and so on, but akusala hasn't been eradicated. So only for the arahat, no virity of any kind, because no inclination to any akusala at all.
Yeah.
So at the moment of being about to gossip or slander someone, say something unhelpful, unkind about someone's reputation, at that moment of abstaining, it is virity.
Yeah.
So Sarah, from your example, it would be, say, something like a Sotapanna has a coffee shop and comes to her mind that she wants to, make her shop look good in the eyes of the customer. So she wants to talk something bad about another shopkeeper, and she restrains. Is that example of right livelihood?
Yes, at the moment of being about or tempted to, badmouth the other shopkeeper, but restraining at that moment, that is right livelihood. But if the rest of the morning there's no thought of speaking harmfully or doing something badly, then no right livelihood, even though by outer appearance it seems that it's right livelihood because she's not killing and she's not gossiping and so on. But only when there is that opportunity to speak harmfully can it be said that it is right speech at that moment of abstaining. So it's just for a moment when there is understanding and abstaining from harmfulness.
I just want to ask, do Sotapanna still gossip? I mean, I can understand abstaining from speaking harshly because there's still an anger. So I agree with that, but I'm not sure whether Sotapanna still gossip because I think that is akusala I'm not sure whether they do or not because it is a bad deed after all if you gossip about people. So I'm not sure. So maybe can you help me on this?
So there are different kinds of gossiping, those that cause harm, and those which are just moments of chattering with attachment that is not so serious, but so common.
Oh,
So
okay.
even for Sotapanna, there's still attachment, still
Yeah.
unhelpful speech. Yes,
Yeah.
just a little bit of idle gossip about the other shopkeeper and what her family are doing, or something that is not kind. So it's there, not eradicated at all.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
But then it means, Sarah, that often you do not say it. If you think it, then you do not say it. That is like abstaining from it. And that is right
Yes.
speech.
Yes, at those moments when there's the temptation to say something that's not good or kind about the other, but when there is abstaining. So it's right speech at that moment. The virati cetasika. We're talking about the virati cetasikas of the path.
Yes, so
with understanding.
And of course, the restraint has to be wholesome, because there can be restraint for different reasons, but we're talking about wholesome restraint from wrong speech or action.
Yeah, because I was thinking no speaking is then right speaking, but that's not true. Huh? It needs to be the restraint from absence of. That makes it right speech.
With
speak.
kusala chitas, yes. Like in the example of the bhikkhu in the kuti, abstaining from washing away the ants.
Yeah.
If it's just because of fear of repercussions, that's not right livelihood.
Or
Only
like
when it's kusala with understanding of the value of abstaining.
There can be many reasons for not speaking. That's true, but it's not always right speech.
No. So we can't tell from the outer appearance at all. No. And that's why if that reality doesn't appear, it can't be known what is right speech or right livelihood. Only when it appears.
Just like some situation, like you might get into a fight and you decide not to respond because you think that, oh, other people will think bad about me. So it's not an abstaining, it's a kusala actually. Abstaining have to mean with wholesome that sees wrong in doing wrong. Yeah, so it has to be kusala also. It's not just outer appearance.
And it can get worse. I mean, for example, some people teach in meditation centers noble silence, which is wrong understanding. It is taking what is not a kusala for kusala. So it's wrong practice. That's when it's worse. They think that keeping silent is kusala. It's like refraining from saying wrong things, but actually it's worse.
Because it's wrong way and wrong practice on top of it. Yeah.
I do not understand.
Just now, I think you understood that. So it's not about not doing it, deciding not to do certain things, but it's just a moment of restraint. So it depends on whether, and Sarah was pointing out that it has to be kusala chitta. So at that moment, refraining from lying, for example, knowing that lying is akusala, that's kusala. But on the other hand, if you have a practice like going to a meditation center and you have time for what they call noble silence, they tell you don't speak, don't talk to anyone, because if you speak, it's a kusala. So and that gives the impression to the people there that they're doing something right, something good. But is it? Yeah.
Not only
so
that.
Earlier, you correctly said that keeping quiet doesn't mean it's right speech. And Sukhini is going further and pointing out that some people keep quiet because they have the idea that it is right to do that, and therefore it's wrong view.
Do not speak. That's
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
But John, would you like to add any more to this discussion or any of the topics?
Ajahn.
Ajahn is in a coffee shop.
We can't hear you, Ajahn. I don't know if you're trying to speak. Okay, I think we better carry on. Anyone else have any comments they'd like to add? Zita or Alberta or Alan or anyone?
Okay, now I can find a way to talk about because something wrong. What would be the next topic? More about Piriya or Virati, Samma Vacha, Samma Kamata, and Samma Asiva? Just to think about. Is that right? Maybe next life it would be the topic for discussion again as we have done this life. That's why I think that whatever is there, which is a reality, no one can change it. So who knows the difference between the Viriti and Samma Asiva and so on, or Miccha Asiva? It's only thinking about what is that and find out whether it's clear or not clear yet. But what's the use of thinking about it? Someone may think that it's good to have clear understanding of Samma Ajiva or each of these three, but it's not there now. And when it's there, is there any understanding of it? Because it has to be there by conditions, but is there any understanding of the truth of it? We just try to find out, but when it's there, can it be known as we have thought that we have found it as it is? By talking, thinking, but when it's there, how can there be the understanding of that as no one and no thing at all?
So, Ajahn, what you're saying sounds like to understand virati or right livelihood, etc. The way is not just to talk about it, but to understand what appears now. To understand seeing.
Example, what is talked about can bring about just a very little understanding of each reality when it does not appear, right? We have talked about viriya, for example, not virati, but is there viriya now? And can it be known as not anyone? It's just a reality. That's why no matter the details of what Citasikas and Chitta and so on, it's just to understand the subtlety of Dhammas, but it doesn't mean that we have to find out more in order to think that we know about it more. But in truth, just have the idea that it's no one and it's Dhamma and it's so subtle, because even we talk about Manasikara or viriya right now, it seems like we understand them. But in truth, is it there now? It can be known only when it appears. And even when it appears without clear understanding about the nature of Nama and the nature of Rupa, how can it be known without any word of its nature and its characteristic? That's why we expect to have understanding of this and that, but no expectation at all to understand anything, but to learn about the nature of it as it is. For example, we learn about Virati, we learn about Viriya, we learn about Manasikara, but the truth is that if there's no wise attention to the nature of each one when it's there, for example, seeing right now, nobody think that I don't know what seeing is, but in truth, is it known as it is, or it's just the idea about it? That's why when we learn to understand that even that which appears is very difficult, without attention, there can never be the understanding of that which appears as just a reality. To let go when it's there as no one and it's just a reality which has such characteristic appearing. That's why we learn about everything, but learn to know that it cannot be understood at all if there is no more understanding of letting go of that which is something as this or that, but it's just only a reality. Because the one who understands the nature of seeing right now can understand the nature of viriya, manasikara, or pirati cetasika when it's there without any word. Even the word is heard and understood before, but no word at all when that characteristic appears as the object of understanding. Do we have to learn until everything is so clear from the teachings of the Buddha in the Tipitaka? But to learn about that, no matter it's so subtle, it cannot be known by expectation. But whatever is heard, studied, that is so very subtle, and when there's attending to the characteristic of the reality, it is the moment of developing understanding to understand what is there as is heard. For example, viriya or samma ajiva, it's there. That's why it's so subtle to know that it cannot be learned to know the truth just by hearing and considering. Because manasikara is not cetana, and so on. We know no doubt about it, as we are doubting about the samma ajiva or viriti cetasika. Understanding that it is beyond trying so hard to understand the difference of cetasikas, but the understanding developed to understand the nature of the reality which experiences the object, or that which does not experience the object, little by little, because they are different. So when the samma ajiva or samma whatever piriti is, it's there when it appears to be known, when there is understanding enough to understand that it's just a reality which experiences the object. I don't know whether I can make it clear enough or not, but we can learn about anything, but when it's there, is the understanding of that object as we have learned, or not yet? Because no attention to that which is there now appears. For example, visible object. Is that clear understanding of visible object, not as many things around at all. But when it appears, no doubt about that characteristic, it's different from other characteristics. So it's only that which appears at that very moment. No matter we say seeing or that which is seen, sound or hearing and so on. The proof is that we learn so much about everything, but when it's there, no understanding of it. The truth is that right now, no doubt about citta, but at moment of seeing, is there any understanding of citta? And why not? We learn so much about many different cittas. How many cittas? But when it's there, just seeing right now. The truth is that why it's not known as we have heard. Why it's not appear to be object, to be known. And even that which appears as the object right now is not known as it is. That's why just learn to understand the subtlety of each reality, not to try to find out right now when it's not there. Because of just hearing about it, but not understanding whatever is there now appear. So we learn about virati to know that there must be virati at moment of abstaining from wrong deeds, ill deeds, right at that moment. Without that moment of that which abstain, there must be ill deed, ill speech, and so on. So what is there? Has to be that which arises and performing the function of abstaining instantly from that which is wrong. No I, that's the point. It's just that reality. And if it correct, it's what we have heard. Whether it is Samma Vaca, Samma Kammanta, or Samma Ajiva. Is that true? What is there now? What is there all the time in one's life? The chief of experiencing what is there. Not attachment, not aversion, not effort. Even it's there all the time in life, it's not known. And how can it be known? Because it's there. So how can the other Citasikas be known? Even it's there right now. Just learn to understand the truth that it's no one at all, no matter what. The reality, the characteristic, or the function of it is there. At moment of liking something in life, in daily life, common life, each day, it's there, attachment, unknown. But we learn a lot about different levels of attachment, raga, nanti, and so on. But it's there until it appears. So how much understanding is of that object when it appears? to be truthful to the truth. And no matter we are talking about the details of Samavaja, Samagamanta, Sama-avijja, it's gone. Not remembered for quite a long time if there's no condition to think about it again. So understand Dhamma is the best thing. That it's just a Dhamma.
Thank you very much, Ajahn.